uh, Rob, here we are on the eve of another Premier League. Your fourth, becoming a bit of a Premier League veteran, but is there still nerves there?
No, not really. Obviously, yeah, you know what to expect. I have to admit, it's a little bit different now. Obviously, with the 5 nights straight. But yeah, you want to get off to a decent start, and that'll settle a few nerves there. What will be there? I think it's more the enjoyment of the tournament. I love the tournament, and usually would have done well up until last year. So no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to producing some of my best stuff.
Whereabouts is your game heading in towards the Premier League? Because it's not been a kind 18 months form-wise, but are you on the road to rekindling that 2018 form?
Yeah, definitely. Don't get me wrong. Practice-wise, I'm really, really happy. I think sometimes it's a little bit of relaxing up there and stuff, and just sort of letting it flow and let it come out instead of forcing it, which I've done a lot last year. So no, I think I'm in a good place. Home life's good, everything's sweet. So I've got something to work with now, and my old routine's back to where I'm practicing twice a day. So no, it should be good.
Were you nervous that maybe this Premier League wouldn't have been here for you this year? Because obviously Gary could have overtaken you in the top 4 after the Worlds. And was there a few nerves on the sofa watching the final?
No, not really. Look, at the end of the day, I didn't have the best of years in my life, in personal life, or even on a dartboard last year. And if I wouldn't have got it, I would have fully understood, and it would have just made me work harder this year. So look, you are where you are, and you get chose because you deserve to be there. So I'm just fortunate. Obviously, I never had the best of years last year, and I still got in.
Do you take much notice of the social media? Because a lot of people obviously saying that James Wade should be in and whatever on form. Do you take any notice of the trolls that say you shouldn't be there?
No, not really. In fairness, look, everyone's got an opinion in life, and everyone's sort of course, can have an opinion and stuff. So, yeah, fair play. Obviously, James has been playing cracking, winning the UK Open too. His form's definitely better than mine. But if you looked at it over a board, he's probably better than some other Premier League players in there and all. So wouldn't just be me sort of under scrutiny there.
Just saying about your practice routine, you're back. How close are you to refinding the best version of Rob Cross?
I think I'm really close. On a practice board, I'm doing crazy things. I'm playing well. And I sort of, probably the difference for me this year, I've enjoyed it more. Last year, I didn't really enjoy it. I had a load of commotion sort of behind me, what I was leaving in my wake. So sort of now that's gone, I'm sort of enjoying my darts more. I'm going out there and I find it easier. When you're enjoying it, it's easier to practice. It's easier to put the hours in. And it sort of makes the game easier and all, because if you know you're doing it on the practice board, there's not much difference to taking it to the game board. So that's what we're going to look to do this coming week.
Is that tough for you to switch off as a dart player when you've got other stuff going on at home and you're up on the oche, just thinking all the time what's waiting for you when you get off?
Yeah, I've always said though, when things are perfect at home, they're perfect on the dartboard, because it's sort of where is your main life? Don't get me wrong, darts is my main life as a job, but where is your life at home? Anything what affects you there affects you in your job. So you look at the most common people that get up in the morning, they might have had an argument sort of the night before work and stuff, and it affects them the next day because it's on your brain. So yeah, it does play a part, but like I said, it's good at the minute, and I couldn't ask it to be any better, and probably myself to be in a better place.
We've seen you tinker with equipment a lot over the last year as well. Are you now settled back with the old World Championship barrel and set up?
Yeah, I've gone back. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, the difference is with them, when I pick them up, I know I can win. I've won everything what I've won on the PDC. I've won with them darts. I suppose at the time to go back to them, it was a confidence change, because you know something works, and I still managed to crash with that. But the belief in them and everything, and don't get me wrong, any dart player could probably play with anything, but it's them pressure moments, being able to hit it under pressure when you need it the most. And I personally think them darts sort of give me that. So
pleasure, Rob. And look forward to seeing you on Monday, mate. Thank you very much as always.
Cheers, Phil.
Hi, Rob. Just going back to what you were saying before there, you've had the most difficult year of your life, without a shadow of a doubt. Do you feel now that you're almost sort of got the freedom again in your mind, that you've got a clear mind now and you can feel like it's almost like a press the reset button almost?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's more sort of just like a clean slate, just to start sort of building some footings off and building up again. I think the massive thing here for me that everything sort of we're not in turmoil here now, so it's nice. You can process life a little bit easier, and I have to admit, with not having to do other things now, I've managed to find my old routine, so that's also helped the game. And to be honest with you, the love for the game has come back considerably. So now I'm really looking forward to this year. It should be good.
We've said before that you are relatively still very new to darts, because a lot of your players who you're up against have been around for 10, 15 years on the circuit, or you're still, people forget that you've only been around for 4 or 5 years. Is that still something that's on you've sort of talked about your routines and stuff. That's only something you've just refined right now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, obviously, don't get me wrong, routines have to change, yeah, with the more busy you are and the busy schedule. Sort of, I was very fortunate in the first year because obviously I had no Premier League, I had no World Series. So every bit of time what I did have, I used to throw myself on the dartboard, get me fundamentals right on the dartboard while I was practicing, make sure I was playing well. And it gives you that little bit more time to walk into tournaments and know that you're ready. Whereas last year, there wasn't really much practice at certain times, and you used to walk in and you wasn't too sure. You just didn't know what was going to happen. So it's been nice to sort of rekindle and get back to the old Rob, to get the practice regime right and everything. And to be honest with you, it gives me confidence, because if you're doing them right things, when you're standing up there, you need to do them right things. You know you're already doing them. So it's just like riding a bike, hopefully.
When these blocks of 5, what happens at home? Because you've got 4 donkeys to feed. Who feeds the donkeys when you're with the other bunch in the Premier League?
Oh, my mum's quite good with them. There's a couple of horses out there, I know, in fairness. So, yeah, I feel like I've got Ronald McDonald's farm, you know what I mean? So, no, she go out, she feed everything and stuff. The animals are well looked after. I've had, actually this week, I've had one of the little donkeys, because we've just had a brand new foal. She's had to go to the vets. So she's been at the vets now for 5 days. She's been quite ill, but she's getting better, which is good. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Just no more mishaps out there.
Good stuff. Well, listen, best of luck next week, and thanks for your time. Cheers, Rob.
Thank you, Phil.
Hi, Rob. How significant could this Premier League be in terms of your season as a whole and getting back to where you want to be?
I think, don't get me wrong, it's the second biggest tournament in the calendar, in my opinion. So obviously it's massive. I think just sort of for me though, really sort of getting them fundamentals right, and if I know I'm ready in my own head, I can go in and do great things. So I never really look at any tournament to kickstart me. I've got to make sure that I'm ready as a person, that I'm ready and I know I'm playing well before I go in. And if I do that, I think I'll have a great Premier League. I don't think, if you haven't put the effort in, no tournament in the world, all right, you might get up for it a little bit more, but at the same time, it's all about myself and sort of putting myself, doing the right things for me, and that'll give me the results in the Premier League what I need.
And you're there on merit through the rankings, but do you feel you have a point to prove at all to silence those critics who doubted that you should be in this event?
Like I said earlier, everyone's sort of got an opinion on things, and they can have that. I think for me, I find the most disappointing, obviously, in the last year, I played some of the worst darts of my life. And sort of like looking at yourself, you know you're better and you always want to be better. And I think it's about time, really, I started doing it for me and sort of putting that record straight instead of sort of thinking about people, what a keyboard warriors and stuff. I wouldn't do that. But, yeah, I'm going to do it for me and I'm going to do it for my family.
And it's Jose de Sousa up first on Monday. How important is it for you to hit the ground running, fit for your confidence and put points on the board early doors?
Well, obviously, where it's 5 days straight, it's a different sort of format in the Premier League. So you don't really want a bad start. If you get a bad start, and then you might feel like you're chasing. I think Jose's been playing superb anyway. He's a great player. Not played him much. But I think obviously, yeah, we come out, yeah, and we go for 2 points anyway because everyone wants to win. So I'll be honest with you, I feel in a really good place and I'm ready for that game.
Cheers, Rob. All the best for next week. Thank you.
Rob, in terms of ranking money, obviously there's no ranking money to defend at the Premier League, and a lot will be made of the money you've got to defend over the next year. Do you think that takes the pressure off and gives you a little bit of a free shot at the Premier League?
Not really. When it comes down to ranking money, I don't really overly think about it, to be honest. The thing is with the money, it's on a 2-year basis. So it was saying what I was doing 2 years ago. If I look back on a year, say, from now, I've not really done a lot. So if you looked at the two in context, you were playing well 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden I haven't been playing well. So sort of the ranking money itself, I don't really worry about it because form changes also. My form will turn around. I'm working harder than ever now, and I'm doing the right things for me. And once I feel I'm ready, I bounce out the gates really and get going.
You've talked about how hard you are working to turn that form around. There's a lot of players in the Premier League this year that maybe haven't been able to capture their best form. Probably Johnny Clayton's the man that has. Do you think that will play a part in terms of players not being in form going into the Premier League?
No, not really, because the difference is, I think, like, where the Premier League's great, it's one game in a night. You prep for that one game and you're done. So sort of the way everyone preps and myself, you want to get your best darts out by the time you're on that stage. And you prep yourself differently. So I think it's a different kind of prep. It's a different game, considering sort of like comparing to the Pro Tours anyway, what we've had. It's a different system. So now I'm looking forward. Just one game in one night, throw everything what you got at it and give it your all and get some points on the board.
That's all from me, Rob. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Rob, you mentioned before that the love of the game has come back. I'm just wondering, how long had that disappeared for?
I'd probably say about a year, properly. A year. Don't get me wrong, I had times, where I was there and I really wanted to do it, but it just wasn't there. You show that bit of passion. I think, just the last year, really, I've been a bit flat walking into tournaments and stuff. If anything, I thought the Worlds was a little bit, obviously I tried to put a little bit more in for, obviously, as you do. But at the same time, probably a year. So I've just felt a bit flat and sort of felt a bit sort of back on heels, really. So it's just one of them. You have to dust yourself off and go again.
Of course. How would you assess your form going into the Premier League this year?
I don't think I'm in a bad place, to be honest. A lot's changed for me. Everything's sort of fixed now or getting fixed. I'd say everything's actually probably pretty much perfect. I've got one more week, and then once that problem resolves itself, it'll be gone, and that's gone on for a long time. So everything's sort of there where I want it to be. So I'll be honest with you, I'm confident. I've been playing very well, practicing. And obviously, it's just a matter of taking your practice game up on the stage. And if I do that, I'll do very well.
Obviously, you've just mentioned stuff away from the oche, but things like empty arenas, no crowds, playing in Milton Keynes, a bit of a smaller arena compared to what you would normally play at the Premier League. Is it still easy to get up for these big competitions? I
think obviously it's harder with no crowd. But then, if you look at the world at the minute, the world's an hard place. So me sort of, I find it a bit unfair, me moaning about the crowd with what's going on in the world. I think personally, look, it's the same for all of us. And it's how much you want to win. And when you get up there, you've got to show that desire, that passion. And if I show that, then I'll do fine. Looking at the format of the Premier League, you've got 5 straight nights next week, followed by a block of 4 in a couple of weeks. It gives you a perfect opportunity to put a good run together early on, or any losses can be put right within 24 hours rather than the usual having to wait a week, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely. Obviously, if you do lose a game, you can't carry any baggage on to the next day because it affects their... you sort of just got to go out and look for a great week or your best week of your life, really. Put your stamp on it. And everyone will look to do that. So... it's relatively important. Sort of, you want to be picking up points every game, whether it's a draw or whether it's a win. So if you're picking something up at all times, you're going to stay away from the bottom and you're going to be closer to the top.